Okay, so we're live. It is 11:47 uh, Friday night, 9/15, 2023, and I'm calling this mixed bag because we're going to go over a whole bunch of shit. So let me play my intro, and I'll be right back. Whoops. Hope everybody's had a good week. Um, been another wild one. Let's do this. Okay, so um, I just had uh, everything all set up, and I just X'd out the window. So give me a second, and we're going to go right here. First, we'll go to what's left of Hurricane Lee. And this is the radar coming out of, I believe this is coming out of Gray Radar Station in Maine. So and you can see here um, the outer edge of this storm just starting to get into the Cape. Some of these heavier rain bands about to push into northern Massachusetts and coastal New Hampshire, coastal Maine for sure, and down east Maine and through here. So let's take a look at uh, the satellite. This will definitely be the last update on this storm here for me for sure. Let's get out of here. So this is the continental United States here. Here's Lee, this box in here. Uh, and this is the front here that and the high pressure that's going to kind of keep this thing from getting too far inland here into the United States. So there's Lee. Um, this I think might be a little late. No, this is Saturday, September 16th. Okay, so here's Lee coming up the coast. Um, it's further on here than this, so let's get out of here. Here's Lee right here, and it's barely hanging on to a minimal hurricane status here with wind speeds of 80 miles per hour. It was Cat 5, then went to a Cat 4, then down to a Cat 3, then down to a Cat 2, but it never really got its act together again from that. And now it's, I don't know, about 300 or 400 miles from Bay of Fundy here. So we got pressure's still pretty low for a hurricane. It's a 965. And if you're plotting at home, those are the coordinates: 39.5 north, 65.8 west, and it's doing a good clip now, 20 miles per hour, because the last few days it was basically sitting over here in the Atlantic, and now it's. If you see this parallel here, it's probably going to curve back into land again and head into the Bay of Fundy here and then out. So here's the cone probability here. So you got watches and warnings all up and down, right up until about southern New Hampshire. I'm sorry, southern Massachusetts, all the way up into, down East Maine here, and then into the Canadian Maritimes, Bay of Fundy here. But I wouldn't be surprised if the next update that comes out drops this down to a tropical storm. I don't think it's going to have time to get extra tropical. So this is going to go from a hurricane to a storm and then out. So let's take a look at the satellite. Actually, let's go here first. These are the key messages here. Hurricane conditions are possible across portions of southern New Brunswick and much of Nova Scotia on Saturday within the hurricane watch area. So this is the watch area here. Tropical storm conditions and coastal flooding are expected to begin in southern New England within the tropical system warning area very soon, within the next 2 hours or so, and spread northward along the east coast of New England and over portions of Atlantic Canada through Saturday. Down trees and potential power outages. So anywhere in this, I mean, we'll go over that in a second anyways, but so anywhere on the coast. I mean, if you're inland a little bit in Maine, you may get some breezy conditions as this thing passes into Canada here, especially on the most eastern side of this. So right in here, and there ain't nobody up there. So, but you're going to feel this. This storm is going to push a whole bunch of water into the Cape for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some minor flooding in here from this. All right, so let's go to satellites. And I'm going to go the entire Atlantic here for this very second. So this is basically the planet, at least this side of the planet. You see Lee here, and this system here is just, it's basically just an area of low pressure here at this point. You got a circulation here, but you're still going to get tons and tons of water in here, especially, it looks like the dirty side is actually now the western side of this. And then here's Nigel that came off the coast of Africa a few days ago. And this system here is basically going to be nobody's threat here. Maybe Bermuda, but it's going to basically do a curveball here. And here's Margot just dancing around in the Atlantic. It's going to push more east, and who knows what it's going to do after that. It seems to just not want to die here. It's still spinning around. There's a circulation right there. So, and then there's another storm coming off the coast here, but this will shut down pretty soon here in the eastern Atlantic anyways, and then we'll have to shift our concern over here to the Gulf of Mexico, because this is when this area starts to get going here. All right, so let's go into this storm here. I'm not going to be able to get it visible, so. Okay, we have the water vapor here. And this is the western side of this circulation here. So this is um, where most of the system is at this point. And I don't think it's going to have time to circulate back around. So you're going to see a ton of rain here, um, especially along the coast. You may see some flooding, but in here, you might see some coastal flooding here in Massachusetts, especially around the Cape. Heavy winds too. Let's get down to the surface here. And you get all of this dry air now coming in here to the system. See this dry air here? It's basically choking off this uh, hurricane. It's just wrapping itself into the center here. So let me shift satellites here because this is not giving me what I want here. Let's go to all right, so that's a better view. So the center's right in here, and there's nothing on the eastern side of this. Absolutely nothing. Um, and once I show you the water vapor, you'll see why, because this is where all the dry air is. It's just wrapping. You can see the darker blues here. That's probably most of the colder, drier air um, that's feeding into the system here and just killing it. But it'll eventually make its way into this Bay of Fundy here. It's basically going to do a curveball here and pile up whatever surf it still has into this area here. And this is the upper level water vapor here, and you can see all this dry air getting in. It's just basically almost fanning out this flame here. So, but there's still quite a bit of water in the atmosphere here. So, and this whole surf is going to come this way with this storm. So whatever it still has with it, the seas and stuff is going to kind of just push into here, and they can see some minor damage, especially in the sound here. See if there's any lightning, which I doubt. There's absolutely nothing going on in the center here. All of this dry air is just getting sucked into this system here right now. There's your front, which is going to push this thing off to the east here. I mean, it's beautiful out right now. It's just cool and dry. We're getting a little bit of this tropical moisture here, but not a lot. All right, so let's see if we can go. Okay, so this is the watches and warnings enhanced here. You got this is Maine here, Bar Harbor, Rockland, all the way down to Portland and Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Tropical storm warnings. Very little coastal flooding here. Coastal advisories are probably up here. Um, high surf advisories, wind advisory. I mean, some of these coastal communities could see 30, 40, 50, maybe even 60-mile-an-hour winds. But I'm going to go see if I can figure this out again. Okay, so where am I? Right here. Okay. Just got to make sure I'm on the right screen. Okay, very good. Okay, so I think this is the latest one that I'm going to get. So this is the storm center, and we're down to 58. So that's about 65, 70 maybe to the left of center. And you're going to, stretch out a little bit here because this is where the dirty side is now. So this is more like the 70, close to hurricane strength here, wind speeds. And it's the problem with these systems is it's now all of the main winds have shifted to more of the western side. So right dead center to the center of circulation, it's 57, 50, even out, 250 miles from the center, 43. So that's strong tropical storm force there. But if you look here on the western side, you're getting some pretty good gusts here. So definitely hurricane strength. And it doesn't take much around here with the tall pines to knock trees down. 45-mile-an-hour winds will knock down pine trees here because of all of the rain we've gotten. But right here in the center, you're not getting much at all. This is the highest I've gotten so far. This is 69, so that's definitely over hurricane force. That's probably where the most of the 75, 80 mile per hour winds are here. But these will get even weaker as the night progresses here. But even out, like I said, 250 miles or so from the center, you're still getting 50, 55-mile-an-hour winds, and that's enough to break down trees here, that's for sure. So what happens, these systems unravel, and you'd be surprised where you're going to get higher wind gusts. Normally they're right here, 50, 60, 100 miles out from the center, but these are way out. So as this system pours around and grabs stuff from the water and brings it around, it's going to still create some havoc. And if we go back to the storm itself, they're right in here. The center is here, so there's very little here, but you're still getting your eastern winds here, and then around the other side, even out here, some of these, bands are coming in with pretty strong tropical storm winds here. But down in here, around the west of the center, is where all the hurricane force winds are. So that's going to plow into here. But the further inland you go here, the less likely you're going to see anything from this. Maybe some thin clouds. That's about it. Because it's moving pretty quick. Okay, so that's the end of that. What we're going to do here first, though, is go to take a look at Nigel here. Okay, so again, you got three systems here. One is Margot here. This is not even a hurricane anymore. It's more like a tropical storm here. The central pressure is still fairly low, though, 990. This is going to do a dance here for a little while and then head east. I don't know what's going to happen after that. And this is Nigel here. It's tropical depression 15, so it's technically not Nigel yet, but it will be within the next couple of hours probably. And then this is the cone. Storm. Sunday, you're going to have hurricane force here. And this is the cone of probability. Here's the coastline. Bermuda's out in here somewhere. And this is going to be a major hurricane for a while, and then basically curve up this way. And I can get pretty good with this. So we'll do a storm track on Nigel. Nope. Okay, so this is going to be the ensemble of everything. So here's Nigel. There's Lee. Here's Margot. Margot. This is going to be a system here that's going to take off this way too. So. But if you see, Nigel here, it's going to basically get into this parallel here and then just take a quick right out to sea. No problems. There's one model that's got it going a little bit further west before it turns, but it's going to be nobody's problem. It might, bring some more of a threat here to southern western Canada, but not going to be a problem. And I don't know what this is. There's nothing really major coming off the coast here in the next few weeks for sure. This is a wave here, but this will be further north. You like to see these systems form due south of the Cable Verde Islands to really make it to travel. Usually, if they start off more northern, they'll do this into the Atlantic because of the high pressure here in the Atlantic. They can't go through it, so they got to go kind of around it. All right, so that's the end of the tropics. We'll go to. I want to do a little bit of this Alex Murdaugh case. He's back in the news again. This guy just doesn't seem to ever want to go away. He's got so many different trials going on at the same time. He's got the financial charges going on. He's trying to get a mistrial because of the clerk butting into the jurors. It's just a nightmare, really. This guy just won't go away. It's just, at some point, you just want this story to end, right? But he's back in the news, and it's just disgusting. You just want him to just go away forever. Just stop bothering people. We know you're a piece of crap. Just go away. But we'll play this here. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of shit going on right now. We got Richard Allen back in the news. Brian Kohlberger won't go away either. So we'll watch this first, and then we'll see what we're going to do after that.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a moment. Luke and Brian Shealy are joining us. Columbia defense attorneys will weigh in on what happened in court today and some other things that have been happening with Alex Murdaugh in the last few weeks. As far as Murdaugh, again, back in court today in Beaufort County. This was his first public appearance since being sentenced back in March to life in prison for murdering his wife and son. Murdaugh was in front of Judge Clifton Newman today. That's the same judge who presided over.
I mean, if it was just a one case, it'd be different, because we know he's guilty, right? I mean, there's probably a few people out there that don't think he's guilty, but, even if he gets this case a new trial, I'm pretty sure it's going to have the same effect. He's just an ass face. I mean, literally, but, probably not supposed to be tampering with the jury. I mean, and this is going to get this a new case. So people are going to have to go through this all over again. It's a nightmare.
Over the murder trial, Murdaugh's attorneys, Jim Harpootlian, Jim Griffin.
Look at this guy. He's just an asshole.
Griffin and Philip Barber were by his side today, while prosecuting attorney Creighton Waters, who was the lead prosecutor in the murder case, was there for the state. Murdaugh is facing 101 total charges related to over 8 million.
101 total charges. I mean,
$1 million, the state says he took from clients. Murdaugh's attorneys asking the judge for as much time as possible to begin that trial. But the state asked for it to start as soon as possible. Ultimately, Judge Newman scheduled that date for Monday, November 27th. Meanwhile, Murdaugh is supposed to be back in a federal courtroom next week to plead guilty to some other financial crime charges. Meanwhile, a co-conspirator, Corey Fleming, sentenced to 20 years in prison today after he admitted to helping Murdaugh steal millions of dollars from clients. Fleming, a former attorney and close friend of Murdaugh, pled guilty last month to fraud stemming from the settlement money from the death of Murdaugh.
It just goes to show you, don't trust anybody at all with your money. Nobody. Don't. Lawyers, nobody. Don't trust anybody, because this could happen to you.
Murdaugh's former housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, and other cases as well. In court today, his attorney said Fleming was the first to come forward, first to admit guilt, repay the money, and cooperate with prosecutors. But in the end, Judge Newman said he must pay for his crimes, 10 years in state prison, 10 years concurrent to the sentence he's serving now on the federal conviction. And there was one other person, Russell Lafitte, also in court today.
I mean, you just can't. I don't know how many times I'm going to stress this, but you just can't make this freaking shit up. You just can't.
Former CEO of Palmetto State Bank is still waiting on a decision for a trial date for his state charges. Judge Newman decided to revisit the issue to make a final decision in the coming weeks. He's facing 21 counts of financial crimes involving stealing $8 million from clients. His attorneys are asking for a fall 2025 trial with the state arguing it should come quicker. All right. As we mentioned, we have two defense attorneys with us tonight, Luke and Brian Sheely. Guys, you were with us for the trial. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having us back.
All right.
And then everybody always asks, why are there so many defense attorneys? This is why.
JR.
Who wants to weigh in first about what happened in court today, what we saw today?
Luke, you want to take it off so we don't talk over each other? Well, we saw, the Murdaugh saga back in court, and everybody's trying to figure out when they're having a trial date. Mr. Murdaugh, although he's sitting comfortably in prison, does have some outstanding matters, and that was kind of what stole the show a little bit, in my opinion. Some of the wranglings where the state really wants it done quickly, and of course, Mr. Harpootlian and Mr. Griffin are saying, well, you know what, we need more time. We've got busy schedules. And at the end of the day, it did get set for just after Thanksgiving, November 27th, which I think was a compromise and perhaps earlier than defense would want. I think they were really looking for a little bit of a delay to see if maybe we might get a ruling on their motion for a new trial prior to then, and maybe up in the apple cart a little bit.
Brian, are you surprised at what happened in court today?
No, I'm not. We've done many status conferences in front of Judge Newman, and he likes to set trial dates. The sooner the better. He always expects the state to be ready and the defense to be prepared. And so he's, been given jurisdiction over these matters, and, his, judgeship ends.
All this guy needed was a loophole, right? You were hoping that, because everybody's going to try to appeal a case like this. It's just the way it goes. But you really need, you need some factual reason to appeal a case. And everybody since March has been biting their fingernails and hoping that there's no reason, for an appeal. But they found one, and it's a good one. So, you just hope everybody plays by the rules. And if they don't, this is what happens. And if this chick is responsible for tampering with the jury, can you believe it?
In the beginning of next year. So I think he's looking to tie up this, tie up.
Nobody ever wants to hear from this guy again. Nobody. Ever.
A ribbon on this, the end of this matter. Here are the major financial crimes this year. As Luke said, the defense team were seeking, based on their complex schedule for next year, and he wasn't having it. We did note with...
He's a lawyer. He's he's a freaking lawyer. So that if there's any type of loophole, he's going to find one,
Dick Harpootlian's language to the court, I feel like he was speaking to a future motion, JR. He was saying, Judge Newman, after this trial, you were very vocal and precise in your ruling. You believed our client was guilty of the double murder.
At this point, you hope that it's a conspiracy. Right? You hope that the cartel's involved. You hope somebody gets rid of this guy. Somebody, anybody.
You express yourself very clearly. Don't let your feelings on this matter,
Hey, buddy. What are you doing? Good to see you, man. I really enjoyed your live the other day. It was awesome. Some actual evidence and evidentiary stuff. It was quite good, buddy. I loved it.
Hurt our right to prepare this case fully and adequately. We're asking for more time. This is also a big...
I'm telling you, man. I think everybody that's covered Delphi from the beginning has sipped a little bit of the Kool-Aid in the Delphi case. Like, you get involved in it, and you try to be, rational. You try to be realistic about things, and then you get sucked in. You start drinking the Kool-Aid. It's annoying. Yeah, it's awesome to have you here, buddy. It is.
Media environment. We think we need more time. We have problems finding a jury panel that hasn't...
I'm staying out of the Delphi shit though, because it's. I mean, what can we do? The guy's in prison. He's the suspect in the case. I mean, it's up to the courts now. In my opinion, he's either going to get charged guilty or, I mean,
heard about this matter. So by saying that, don't let your feelings, that was very telling,
I'm going to go
interfere with your judicial decision making, so to speak. He was really kind of
this one here because these guys are boring.
Thanks so much for staying with us. I'm Julie Grant. Court is officially underway now. The Honorable Clifton Newman has taken the bench in South Carolina. Let's go in live.
Status is the state versus Russell Lucas Lafitte. Again.
Yeah, I know. You listen to. I only watch a few people these days. I don't watch a lot of, like, I used to watch a whole bunch of different creators. Now I just watch a few. I'll watch Kristen. Kristen is awesome. You're awesome. Frosty's pretty cool. I watch Rick Snay because I like Rick Snay. I don't agree with him 100%, but that doesn't mean I can't like the guy. But I just stay out of the politics of the whole thing because it's. I mean, that's why it was good to catch you live the other day because it was realistic. You were talking from, good evidence.
Remind Your Honor, he's been indicted in 2022 GS 4701, venue in Hampton County. This is a state grand jury indictment containing 4 white-collar counts. 2022 GS 4702, that's in venue in Hampton County, 3 white-collar counts. And then finally, 2022 GS 4703.
I mean, if you're going to get Kristen upset, right? Like, if Kristen gets upset, something's wrong because she's probably the most passive person in the world, right? Like, and some of these creators are just absolutely have lost their brains, and I don't mind opinions. Like, people are entitled to opinions, but I just I mean, nobody, and I mean nobody, saw Richard Allen's arrests coming. So, like, all of these people that thought they knew everything about the case, every single person was wrong, including myself. So,
venue in Alameda County, which contains 14 white-collar counts, a total of 21 charges with an alleged loss of about $1.8 million. Mr. Lafitte is here, present with his counsel, Mark Moore.
I mean, wasn't Gray Hughes a suspect at one point too? Like, how can? Oh my Lord! Every single person that's covered that case has been a suspect. I just laugh about it now, man. I just totally laugh about it. It's classic.
And Todd Rutherford.
This guy here's another joke.
And again, I think we're here to status the case and to discuss a trial date.
Not to discuss the trial date, to set a trial date.
And the state board is prepared to go forward at whatever date works for all parties.
Anytime there's a Hoosier cold case live, I don't care what I'm doing, we're going to be watching it because it's just so precise and so right to the point. Straw men, all of these false dichotomies. Oh my God.
I think the defense has a position, and so I will let them at this point raise whatever they wish to raise unless John has any specific questions.
All right. Mr. Moore?
Morning, Your Honor. How are you?
Fine.
So things have not changed much on the federal side since the last time we spoke. Mr. Lafitte's bond motion still pending with the Fourth Circuit. The Fourth Circuit has not yet decided. I thought we would have a decision by today.
It's what kind of motion?
It's a motion for an appeal bond. He is scheduled to report on September 21st, unless the Fourth Circuit grants him an appeal bond. I had a briefing scheduled in this case, in the federal case. They agreed to at the end of September. The government crossed appeal, and after the government crossed appeal, the Fourth Circuit consulted.
I mean, the whole thing lately has been this guy's going to plea out, right? And there just came out some news today that the defense is trying to throw out this evidence again. So if he's pleading guilty, this doesn't make any sense. They're still trying to throw out the entire search warrant. You know, it's obviously he's not making a plea here.
I don't have a new briefing schedule, but I'm going to get a briefing schedule. Okay.
All right, so you're here to talk about the federal case. I'm here to talk about this case, the state case.
Well, Your Honor, I'm just telling you because they have some relationship to each other.
What is the relationship?
The relationship, Your Honor, is that much of the evidence is the same. Okay? Much of the evidence is the same. And as Your Honor knows, and I know that these cases are scheduled separately, but my client is charged in 3 separate cases with Mr. Murdock. Okay? They are co-defendants. No motion to sever has been filed. Okay? And so, as I understand it, the state wants to try a case involving Mr. Murdock that does not involve my client first. My client has been convicted in federal court, and
We're going to set this case aside.
You doing all right, buddy? They could be. I mean, who knows in Delphi? It could be anything. It could be, it literally could be anything they're trying to do, but it just doesn't make any sense to me if they're, you know, trying to strike up a plea deal with the prosecution. I don't know why they've been trying to get rid of this evidence for a while now, I think, but who knows in Delphi? It could be. I just think, my own personal opinion, I've done the timelines and the, you know, from the affidavit anyways, there just can't be anybody else in that vicinity of the bridge at that time. I mean, but that's just my opinion.
And proceed with Mr. Murdoch's case, then we'll come back to this case.
so you want to set aside the motion?
That's what I just said, yes.
Hello, Luis. How are you? Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Yeah, he's back in the news again. I mean, this guy just doesn't want to go away. He's going to get a new trial. There's no doubt. I'm just hoping somebody takes this guy out.
Oh, how about that? The judge is ready to call Alec Murdaugh's case next. And I'm being told we're going to be seeing him in his prison jumpsuit. Our Court TV team had previously been told it was going to be street clothes, but now I'm being told he's going to be wearing that orange jumpsuit from the South Carolina State Correctional Facility where he's been held since his murder convictions for killing his wife, Maggie, and his son, Paul. Now I see Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin getting ready at defense table. Creighton Waters still standing there.
I mean, I remember the verdict. I remember, it seems like yesterday, in this case anyways, they adjourned for like 45 minutes. I don't even think it was that long. I mean, I think they really nailed this guy to the wall. And you thought, you know, it's the last you're ever going to hear this guy. But, you know, it's not always the case, apparently.
All right, this is sticky, isn't it? Still with me, Curtis Clemens, Tommy Pope, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Tommy, this is a mess, isn't it? If Alec Murdaugh wants to plead, his co-defendant still has these cases outstanding. And Russell Laffitte still may want a trial. How might that affect things if Murdaugh pleads?
I think it'll be interesting, for one, whether you're looking at testimony, that may come from Alec. Now, credibility-wise, how that works, I'm not sure, but it's a tangled mess. I heard the judge say he's not waiting and listening to the federal component. He's going to take care of his own business. So I think that's why you're seeing the swap of defendants right now. And
This guy probably wants, I heard yesterday he may want to go more with the federal charges, to go to federal prison because it's so much better than a state prison. So that's what he may be angling for here. But I don't trust anything this guy says. Nothing.
they'll tackle what's going on with Alec.
Right, and they did it swiftly, brought Alec Murdaugh into the courtroom. There he is. Let's listen in together live.
Richard Murdaugh, Your Honor is aware he's been indicted in a slew of state grand jury charges, and I'm happy to read those numbers into the record. They are extensive.
Whoops. Hold on a second.
One, 2021 GS 4731 Carlton County, also indicted in November of 2021. 2021 GS 4732 in Hampton County, indicted in December 2021. 2021 GS 4733 in Hampton County, also indicted.
Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. Yeah, look at the smirk on this guy's face. You literally just want to reach through the computer and smack his face in. Honestly, I mean, he's got like this. I hate this guy, literally.
Indicted in December 21. 2021 GS 4734 in Hampton County, also indicted in December 21. 2021 GS 4735 in Beaufort County, indicted in December 21. 2021 GS 4736 in Hampton County, also indicted in December 21. 2021 GS 4737 in Hampton County, indicted by state grand jury in December 21. 2021 GS 4738 in Carlton County, that's indicted in December 2021. 2021 GS 4729 was a superseding.
I mean, he's a lawyer, right? So he, it's like you got three lawyers here. Plus all these guys. I mean, he's got a ton of lawyers.
In Allendale County in January 2022. 2022 GS 4701 in Hampton County in January 2022. 2022 GS 4702 in Hampton County, that's January 22 was when it was indicted. 2022 GS 4703 in Allendale County in January 22. 2021 GS 4727 superseding.
He's accused of stealing more than $9 million from clients.
In March of 22 in Orangeburg County. 2021 GS 4730 is superseding in Beaufort County in March of 2022. 2022 GS 4701 in Hampton County in April. 2022 GS 4702 in Hampton County in April. 2022 GS 4703 is superseding in Allendale County in April of 2022. 2022.
I mean, if he goes right, if he goes to federal prison, like he's got it made. Like I don't know. He definitely had help with this stuff here.
GS
But
4710 in Carlton County in June of 2022. 2022 GS 4723 in Hampton County in August of 2022. 22 GS 4724 in Carlton County in August of 2022. Finally, our last two, 2022 GS 4734 in Hampton in December of 2022, and 2023 GS 4703 in Carlton County.
no, he did it. It was looking pretty good for him at trial until he lied. He said he wasn't at the crime scene, that he was sleeping, but they had him on video being there at the crime scene. So The other financial cases, I think he had people involved. This other guy that got sentenced, there's actually 2 co-conspirators to the fraud cases, but as far as I'm concerned, he's the mastermind. But no, he definitely unalived his wife and his son. There's no doubt. I mean, he literally got caught in that lie, and that's what really did it for him. And like I said, nobody wants to hear about him ever again.
April of 23. Your Honor, the state grand jury indictments that I've just listed, yes,
Agreed.
Represent 101 total charges for an alleged loss
101 total charges. Like it, it's
of almost $8.8 million. Your Honor, the state is here, as we have discussed, I believe, back in April, requesting a trial date for Mr. Murdaugh. I believe that
they should have never let him testify. These defense attorneys are real dummies. They did a disservice to him testifying because he basically dug his own grave testifying. Period.
we look at some of the other co-conspirators that Corey Fleming has pled. We're supposed to go to trial this week. But Mr. Murdaugh remains the state's priority, and I believe the case that is the priority would be the case involving the Satterfields, Your Honor. That by far represents the greatest single loss among all the victims. That would be 2021 GS 4730 being here in Hoover County. And the state is intent and request to the court to schedule.
Yeah, he did hire somebody he basically hired somebody to unalive himself to steal money from the people that he was trying so-called to help, I think. So he's got a lot of cases going on at the same time. But basically, if you cut it up, you got one case for the murders that he's already been guilty of, and then the other extortion type case.
Trial date as soon as reasonably possible, sometime before the end of this year, to try Alex Murdaugh on those particular charges.
All right, Mr. Harper, yeah. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, there are a number of
I don't know if you ever seen the movie Fletch, but that's basically what he tried to do. He tried to have somebody kill him and then take all the money.
Different objections we have to trying any of these cases this year. We previously got the impression from Your Honor when we met at the last status conference that you would not be trying any of these cases, and you'd be leaving the bench on January 1.
Tell me about that impression again.
That was my impression based on your discussion. Now, maybe I misread you. I've done that from time to time during the process. If I did, I apologize. But in the meantime, Mr. Griffin and I have scheduled other matters for this fall. Both he and I have a federal trial in December. Before that, Your Honor, and I think I mentioned this the last time we talked.
Yeah, apparently they were saying that he was doing up to $10,000 worth of drugs a day. And I don't even think people on the street do that much drugs a day. So I don't know how somebody's doing $10,000 worth of drugs a day. I just don't. So, that's the conspiracy that, he was kind of part of the cartel, and the cartel was the ones that came and, unalived his wife and son and stuff like that. But, it's just, if the cartel was involved, they would have gotten rid of him too. They don't just keep people alive just in case he does talk. They're not going to keep him alive for that.
I have the oldest case in Lexington County, civil case, involves the death of 5 children killed by their father.
I mean, Al Pacino in Scarface wasn't doing $10,000 worth of drugs a day.
We sued the Department of Social Services 8 years ago, and finally on a trial docket. I've mentioned this is something I mentioned.
It's a trial docket for him.
Motions on the 14th of October, trial on October, and I have a email here from Judge McCadlin who's trying in a trial on, motions heard on October 13th, trial on roster for October 30th. And it's at least a 2-week or 3-week trial. Mr. Griffin had an additional conflict in Texas in a federal trial, what day? October 30th that week. So I guess this is September. It looks like most of October is going to be involved either getting ready for or trying that case. Wouldn't be done until.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense, but I don't know. That whole story just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't pass the test to me. This guy's just a piece of dog shit, literally.
Early in November, and Your Honor, it's going to take some time to get ready for these cases. But more importantly, and maybe this is the toughest thing I have to say, and that is this. This case was finished 6 months ago. It clearly, I don't think anyone disputes, has had more publicity than any case in the history of this state, and maybe the country. On national television every day for 6 weeks, the motions are motions hearings were covered, and they're here again today. It has been podcasted, blogged. We've got podcasters out there who are ripping their 15 minutes, hanging by their fingernails, wanting more of their 15 minutes of fame, and continue to talk about this. I understand.
These guys literally have no scruples. They have no remorse for life. They have no remorse for anything. He's just one of those guys, that just doesn't have any morals whatsoever. So who knows what he was spending money on? Probably trying to hire lawyers to cover everything up. Who knows?
One of the solutions to massive pretrial publicity is a change of venue. There are 2 cases I want to cite to the court, both of the United States Supreme Court cases. Murphy versus Florida, and the cited, at Shepard versus Maxwell. There are 2 kinds of pretrial publicity that would indicate.
And he literally told them that he did that to help the family, and then he stole the freaking money anyways. This guy, I'm telling you, this guy deserves like the worst punishment anybody could ever imagine.
The continuance and/or a change of venue is required. Prejudice is presumed from pretrial publicity when pretrial publicity is sufficiently.
So apparently, this clerk, I don't know if Hoosier's still here, but the clerk of court in the murder trial was basically writing a book, and she wanted this case wrapped up. It was, I think this case took 7 weeks, and from what I heard, the publisher didn't want to pay anything out until this case was solved. So she basically went in the jury room and started to tell people not to listen to anything he said. It's just, like I said, you can't make this stuff up.
Prejudicial and inflammatory, and the prejudicial pretrial publicity saturated the community where the trials were held. They found presumed pretrial publicity in a case much less renowned, much less publicized than this one. And Your Honor, to try this case in less than a year after the verdict came in the other case, don't we need to let it calm down a little bit? Where are you going to get a jury? Mars? I mean, there's nowhere in this state.
Allendale, Orangeburg, Beaufort, Colleton,
Your Honor, and I
Hampton.
appreciate your sense of humor.
It's not a
This judge is freaking awesome. He's not putting up with any of this stuff. He's just not doing it. Defense lawyer's trying to say, where are we going to get, he wants to get this case moved, but the judge is saying, no, we got so many counties we can pull. He's not putting up with it. Good for him.
sense of humor. We have many counties where these indictments were issued. I'm not presuming that a jury cannot be impaneled, just as.
Yeah, it could be that, Hoosier. It could be that, or who knows? Ladies on the side, who knows? Those get expensive too.
The trial that took place in Colleton County, there was no motion to change venue.
I don't care what anybody says. I think his wife was trying to divorce him, and that's why that whole thing started. You know, like it's got that smell to me. Like she caught on to some of his shit, and she was trying to get out of it, and he couldn't have that happen. And you know, those things happen. I don't know why the son had to die, but this guy's just a prick. You know, who knows? Who freaking knows? I just never wanted to see this guy's face again, but here we are.
I'm not presuming any prejudice, and the test is not based on speculation. The test is whether or not a jury can be impaneled. You first have to attempt to get a jury according to the law.
What I'm saying is, I think it'd be an exercise of futility. I know this. We've been interviewing jurors, as you know, in the murder trial. There was a juror who on that jury who could have been excused, been on the jury.
This guy just pissed this fucking judge off. Don't be telling me about comedy, man.
Panel who was in the previous year and told other jurors, I want on this trial. I want on this trial. And that, I'm afraid, is what happened on that jury. We got a motion for a new trial for after discovered evidence. The court, the Attorney General is going to file their response tomorrow. We believe the Court of Appeals will order a hearing before a circuit court judge to determine whether or not the corporate court tampered with that jury. And that is and so we would go forward with another trial while that matter pending, while that matter is being litigated.
See, what I don't understand is I get the whole, you know, ethics of the clerk of court tampering with the jury and shit like that. But all they're going to do, even if it's a retrial, all they're going to do is basically, and I don't think they can bring in any evidence. They're going to go through the stuff that they had. And you're telling me now that jurors are going to change the conviction? I just don't see that happening. So you're going to waste all this time and money for
Probably not in Colleton
another guilty verdict.
County.
Go forward with another trial? My friends, we've got our answer already, and this hearing has just begun. They're going forward with trial. Many of us thought he might be pleading today after he...
Which son is that? Was that... Stephen Smith? Is that the Stephen Smith case, I think? I just think this guy, Buster, right? I don't know. I just think this guy, literally a piece of junk.
Confessed to so much while on the witness stand at his homicide case. But no, they're not setting this for a plea. Dick Harpootlian is arguing to the judge to set it out further in time so they can try it after this investigation concludes regarding the allegations of jury tampering. I can't. Already, I am stuck.
Yeah, Steve from True Crime Web is investigating the Stephen Smith case with Buster and shit like that. That doesn't smell good either. That's you know, that was a homicide too, for sure, no doubt.
Stunned and amazed. You're not going to miss a minute of this. We're hitting pause. We're hitting our break, and then we're going right back in where we left off. Don't go away.
As far as I'm concerned, his son Buster is just delusional. He's just, I mean, he's probably the only person in the world, other than a handful of other people, that think this guy's innocent.
Tragedy in the Hollywood Hills. Prominent therapist Dr. Amy Hardwick found fatally injured under...
Already serving 2 life sentences without parole. This is just another attempt to get more publicity, to make this another national case. And, Your Honor, I'm offended with you.
I do agree with people, though, that say in these high-profile cases like this, you got to spend the money to suppress the jury. I mean, I'm sorry. What did I say? Suppress? It must be getting late. A sequester of the jury. They should be held up in, like away from any type of, because these things happen. They should do the same thing in the Delphi case. It was away from everybody, sequester them. That's it. Spend the money to do that.
The Attorney General he's got many other cases that are much older than this, but get granted, Court TV won't be there for them. This is another effort at creating a national spectacle. Now,
Would Steve from True Crime Web? Yeah, I know he went up there to investigate the accident scene.
Your Honor has some things to say about Mr. Murdaugh sentencing. You obviously believe he's guilty of that. You obviously, and the jury found him guilty of that.
This is why, I love South Carolina. We go there every year, but I would never live there.
But I would ask you to put those feelings aside and give us a chance to litigate this jury tampering issue, to allow Mr. Griffin and I to have time, if there is going to be a trial on these, to prepare for those trials, which we won't in our calendar for the fall. And third thing is, why doesn't the Attorney General put some distance between the conviction in the murder case and the trial, if there has to be a trial, on the financial cases? I'm, as you know, as a prosecutor, I'm bewildered by this. I'm certainly they can do it, but why? Why? What is the hurry? Thank you, of course.
This is the reason why defense lawyers get paid so much freaking money, man.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this isn't about a spectacle. These white-collar indictments have been investigated by the state grand jury, which is a partnership of the AG and SLED. And these particular, the Satterfield.
This prosecutor is absolutely freaking awesome. I don't care what anybody says. This guy here knows what he's doing. Thanks for coming in, Luis. I appreciate it. Have a good night. It is late. I'll be up all night, but I'll be doing another live later to go over the rest of the Connecticut River Valley Killer, probably around 3 or 4 o'clock, and more on Flora, I think. But thank you for coming in, Luis. Appreciate it.
Indictments were indicted in November of 2021, just about 2 months after the side of the road happened. This is about allegations that represent an assault on the state judiciary. And because of that, they need to be answered. Your Honor is exactly correct that the law does not presume prejudice. If he wants to file a motion where he cites law, then we can respond, but the law is very clear. Is that you don't presume prejudice, you try to seat a jury. And only through that process can the court then assess whether or not a jury can be seated.
But see, the problem is, that's what I'm saying. You needed this little loophole for this guy to get out of his cage, right? And it happened. It happened with this clerk of court. If she doesn't do that, this shit, it just goes away, right? So now the defense is saying they don't trust anything the state's doing. So I don't blame him, but this guy's guilty. He's guilty, period. Whatever she did, whatever she didn't do, he's guilty.
We are in 2023. The reality of the media environment.
There's no more assumption of innocence before guilt or whatever, but he's already been convicted. And it's just a technicality that's going to get this guy a new trial, but that doesn't mean he's not guilty.
Is what it is. And unless we're going to say the judicial system just can't function because of publicity, that just leaves nothing left to happen. This is just a reality that we live in. And so we depend on the ability of the system, depend on the ability of the jury selection process to seat jurors. And that is what should happen. And only if there is an inability to do so can this court then consider whether or not there needs to be some change of venue or some relief or something like that. That is exactly.
All right. So let's get out of there. Let's play this. I'm going to shift gears here a little bit. to the Richard Allen shit, because he's asking again, his defense is asking again to remove the entire search warrant because I'll have to read the PCA again because I know there was a discrepancy before when they got the PCA and when they actually did the search warrant. So they might have a good case for that. But we'll see here. So attorneys for the Delphi murder suspect, Richard Allen, want search warrant evidence thrown out. And they've been saying this for the last couple of months. And they just filed a motion today, I think, for this.
Update in the case involving the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German.
Defense attorneys for Richard Allen want key evidence against their client thrown out. Thanks for joining us here this evening at 6. I'm Beershell Edmond.
And I'm Dan Spieler. Fox 59's Jenny Drasler has been reading through these 2 new motions today. Jenny, what are you learning tonight?
Only 2 motions, but still a lot to get to tonight. In an amended motion to suppress filed on Wednesday, Richard Allen's defense team claims the search warrant granted for Allen's...
I'll have to read the PCA again for the 1000th time to go over this. But like I said, I think there was a stipulation of when they got the PCA and when the actual search warrant happened. Now, I've talked to Steve from True Crime Web, and, you know, some states allow like a knock search, stop knock search, whatever they call that. But I think I read in the PCA documents that the timing of it was a little weird.
Home was invalid and all evidence that was collected from that search should be suppressed. Police searched Allen's home on North Whiteman Drive in October of last year. Then later that month, the state filed 2 murder charges against him, using a gun found during the search as a key piece of evidence. Now, police claim testing showed that a bullet found at the scene of Abby Williams and Libby German's bodies was cycled through that gun. Allen's attorneys say that the search...
I think what happened, this is my theory of what happened with this whole thing here. I think that they've been looking for this bullet for a while. Like, this is what was going to cinch this case because they didn't know who it was. And when they got that tip, they immediately went to his house and started asking questions. And, you know, they may have asked a question like, does your husband own this type of a gun? And as soon as his wife said, sure, yes, he does, I'll show it to you. You know, that's probably when they decided that they were going to start searching his house.
Of his home was unconstitutional, resulting in an illegal search and seizure. Now, in this new motion, Allen's attorneys argued the warrant and that probable cause failed to establish specifically what exactly police were looking for, and they say it failed to establish a crime had been committed. Allen's attorneys claim the items named in the search warrant could have come from any home in the state of Indiana. I spoke to an IU law professor who says if a judge grants this motion, while unlikely, it could make prosecuting the case even more challenging.
It makes it very difficult to prosecute where, of course, they have obtained evidence that's very helpful to the prosecution, you know, which the defense is seeking to get rid of. It would greatly aid the defense in their case. However, it's very rare for a motion to suppress to be given or awarded to the defense in criminal court because there's only a few circumstances that really qualify for that sort of relief.
Allen is accused of killing Abby and Libby near the Monon High Bridge in February of 2017. The case went unsolved until Allen's arrest. And in a separate motion filed this week, his attorneys also asked the judge to allow cameras in the courtroom. Allen's trial is set for January. Jenny Drasler, Fox 59 News.
Jenny, thank you. Fox 59 has been following this case from the very beginning, including every new development.
Show of hands here. Who thinks there's actually going to be cameras in the courtroom? Because I don't. But that's just me. I don't think that's going to fly. But if there's cameras in this courtroom, I'll be shocked.
From the legal side of things, since Allen's arrest last October, you can find our previous stories and our interviews with the people who knew.
Same with the Koberger case. I don't think there's going to be cameras in that courtroom either.
Abby and Libby on our website at Fox 50.
All right, so what is this here? We'll do this next. This guy here, when was this done? This was done 5 hours ago. Okay, so I don't know if anybody knows about this guy here. He escaped prison. It's the third guy in Pennsylvania in a year that's escaped prison. This guy here seemed to. Oh, cool! Thank you. This is the manhunt that went on for 2 weeks in southeastern Pennsylvania, and they finally got him. I think it was Thursday night. They had a heat signature in the woods, and they kept looking at that and found him the next day. So this is from Fox 29, and this is, I think, how they got him.
I believe this is what we've been waiting for a couple of weeks now. Day 14, Danilo Cavalcante in custody.
Danilo Cavalcante finally captured.
Shortly after 8 a.m., our suspect was captured.
For the next 30 minutes, we'll explore the questions we all have and investigate how this started.
Look
We're
at
going
this.
to find you. We're going to prosecute.
I can't believe that. I just can't believe it. If you watch that whole thing of him climbing out of there, you see this guy standing by the column. I think he was kind of like a lookout for him for a couple of seconds. He probably said, "Hey, just watch for the guards for me. I'm just gonna stand here and climb this wall and get the hell out of here."
Prosecute you, and we're going to keep you behind bars for the rest of your life.
From a prison escape,
we have maintained as secure a perimeter as we possibly could.
I'm hoping he will get caught by tomorrow morning.
To an intense search throughout our area lasting 14 days. Police broadcast over scanner traffic. Danilo Cavalcante may now be armed with a .22 rifle and a scope, putting an entire region on edge.
I'm getting run around and thrown in a different direction.
And residents' lives on hold.
I got hit with cops.
It's been a really scary couple of days here.
We'll examine how Cavalcante was captured.
Tactical teams began to converge on that location where the heat source was moving.
And what law enforcement can do so it doesn't happen again. Fox 29 presents Manhunt, Tracking a Killer. It is a manhunt that captivated the nation, a convicted killer on the loose in our backyard. Every day, new twists, new turns. The high-intensity 2-week search had many around the world watching the manhunt unfold in real time.
Yeah, it was. I forget the name of the dog. It was a Belgium something, Malinois or something. And the dog actually it literally bit him on the head. That's why he was bleeding from the head. Where'd everybody go?
It all started on the morning of August 31st with the first word of a man who murdered his ex-girlfriend, climbed out of prison, and was on the run.
Right now, the search is on for this man after he escaped from Chester County Prison, and authorities announcing now a $10,000 reward for his capture.
This case here, to me, was so addicting. Like, I was driving around at night with the scanner on. That's how addicting this thing was. I just wanted them to catch him before he hurt somebody else.
34-year-old Danilo Cavalcante.
Especially after he got the gun. I mean, anything can happen after somebody arms themselves. I mean, this guy was desperate. He wanted to get the hell out of there. And it's one thing if you're not armed, but it's another thing if you are, armed.
But many still want to know, how did he escape in the first place?
They had deployed canine units, drones, and helicopters in this manhunt. If you see him, do not approach him.
First, I didn't think it was a big deal until I heard how dangerous the guy is. He really has nothing to lose.
He was wearing a prison-issued uniform when he escaped, but was last seen on Wawasset Road in gray shorts, a white t-shirt, and white sneakers.
We are going to find you. We're going to prosecute you, and we're going to keep you behind bars for the rest of your life.
The Chester County District Attorney says hundreds of officers have not stopped looking for this man. He was convicted just last month of murdering his girlfriend after stabbing her in front of her 2 young children in 2021 and accused of another murder in Brazil.
We will stop at nothing until we bring him back into custody and support our state and local partners.
But officials at Westchester University were taking precautions.
He could be blending in. You would never know.
Danilo Cavalcanti was spotted on a home surveillance camera not too far from the Chester County Prison.
Law enforcement is encouraging the public to lock their door.
So this guy here, hold on a second. This guy here escaped, I think it was 3 months ago now, because I covered this. This guy here escaped from Westchester, Pennsylvania. No, this guy escaped from, Western Pennsylvania, Warren, Pennsylvania, actually, 3 months ago. And this guy literally climbed down with bed sheets tied together. So they've had a few in Pennsylvania now. It's not just this guy here last week. It was, it's been a few of them. So they need to, any of these guys that are awaiting trial or, I think so. I think his girlfriend, well, the U.S. Marshal that was on the other day said that they don't know yet if that was the case. He found a backpack, and apparently the backpack had everything that he needed in it. So I don't know how true that is, but he probably did have some help. I wouldn't doubt it.
And remain vigilant by searching their homes and checking sheds and other spaces that he may be hiding.
Our presence in the area has only gone up since this positive sighting last night. The reason we had that sighting is because the public was vigilant.
He is a small man, approximately 5.
Once they got that heat signature, I knew it was pretty much over because I'm pretty sure they can tell the difference between like a dog or a deer in the woods and a human. So once they got that heat signature, they probably just followed him until he started moving around.
5 feet tall, 120 pounds, with long curly black hair. Police have responded to well over 100 tips from varying neighbors in the area.
An entire neighborhood on edge tonight as law enforcement continues their search for a convicted killer.
He is still considered an extremely dangerous individual.
We told the girls that there's a bad guy on the loose and that we're keeping them nice and safe.
I can't believe we haven't caught him yet with all the resources we have, all the canines, everything we have.
Sources tell Fox 29 that he apparently broke into 2 houses on Water Glen Drive and stole food, but no one was home.
Day 6 in the search for the escaped murderer as state police say they're trying to squeeze him from the air and the ground with no luck yet.
This is the breed of dog that found him. This is a Belgian Malinois. Look at how cute that dog is. That's a good looking dog right there. I would not want to be bit by this dog though. But I'm pretty sure that's the breed of dog that caught him, that found him anyways. Look at him, so cute. All right, I have 2 dogs. I have my long-haired shepherd and my black lab. Both of them are pretty dumb.
Investigators released new pictures of Cavalcante, recorded at 8:21 last night by a trail camera on the property of nearby Longwood Gardens.
As the search for Cavalcante continued, using the technology of our mobile news units, we started live streaming the manhunt, providing real-time critical updates.
This guy apparently sweared, like cuss word, the good one, on a live stream. You can tell he was getting frustrated, and I guess he got a call from his mother or something like that. And his mother kind of bitched him out. I don't know.
updates.
I would probably swear too if I was driving around for days and days and days and days and days.
To viewers around the world and inside the search zone. It's coming up on 6:48. Chris O'Connell coming to you live from Pocopson Township. Just about an hour ago, we were in a neighborhood where the search was.
I mean, it's not like any of us haven't heard the word before, right?
Law enforcement is out that way.
This manhunt is very active. It's going to get very hot today. And just looking behind me, it's impossible to see anybody back there.
Search can.
Yeah, I've been down here before, and it is so dense in these woods, especially now since they've gotten so much rain, and we've gotten so much rain over the past couple of months, that the foliage is just beyond enclosed in here. And if you're in here hiding, you could hide in here for weeks.
K9 suffered heat-related injuries and had to be hospitalized yesterday. Now, the search area is also getting bigger.
What, do you think he's out of your perimeter? Is there a chance he's flipped your perimeter?
I do not.
What makes you believe that?
Everything that I'm able to see, the various sightings.
Reporters sometimes ask the dumbest questions, literally the dumbest. What makes you think that? I would literally jump over that podium and pound that guy's face in for asking that question.
Things that we've had, other aspects of this investigation lead me to believe that he is still there.
So if you're near Fox Run, if you're near Chandler Road, Pocopson Road, Brighton's Bridge Road, chances are you are hearing the helicopters. You are seeing the search crews. They may be in your neighborhood. They may be in your backyard. So do not be alarmed. We're right there. Right in the middle there.
Cavalcanti, at just 5 feet tall, was able to put his hands and feet against the.
See this guy right here? Let me back this up a second here.
Cavalcanti, at just 5 feet tall.
Watch this guy. Right? It looks like, you know, this guy here might have said to him, can you just stand here for a second and watch for any guards? Because watch, as soon as he climbs out of the picture here, this guy just takes off.
Was able to put his hands and feet against the two walls.
Oh, they're not going to show it now, of course.
And climb up onto the prison roof.
That guy there just took off after that.
Not observe nor report the escape.
Is this worse than embarrassing for the prison?
It should be.
This is the corner, Baltimore Pike and Creek Road. So you're seeing basically the southeast end of the search area. You're seeing more law enforcement show up to the scene as a new perimeter has just been established about a half hour ago, according to Pennsylvania State Police. What we think was a confirmed sighting on the grounds of the famous Longwood Gardens. If you know it, it has been kind of the center of the search here for the last 8 days. It's about a mile south of the Chester County Prison. Okay, about 20.
Hey, Frank, what's going on? It's already 1:15. Holy shit. Hey, buddy, thanks for stopping by, man.
State troopers just rolled in here.
Day 9 of the hunt for.
What's the Frankmeister doing up so late?
Dangerous fugitive on the run. New reported sightings intensifying the search in Chester County.
We are now on the scene of another reported sighting of Danilo Cavalcante on the grounds once again of Longwood Gardens, and it seems like
I can't believe I've already been on here for an hour.
So, God willing. For the first time since the start of the search, the media was invited behind the scenes of the temporary command center at the Pomar Lynn Fire Company in Unionville.
There's nothing I can do about the sound. It's
Federal and local authorities are working around the clock, poring over tips and potential sightings. In the middle of the room, a large screen showing in real time the hundreds of state police and other law enforcement surrounding a new perimeter.
I don't think people realize what it takes to support it.
I mean, look at these woods. Like, once you get in here, you're gone. I mean, nobody can find you. It's not going to happen. I'm surprised he didn't die from tick bites and mosquito bites, though, because you know, you got to really have some pretty good DEET in here to get rid of mosquitoes.
An operation like this, we're actively trying to work this and bring it to an end so that the community can go back to normal, that school kids aren't concerned about getting on the bus or going to school or hearing a helicopter overhead of their school, that all of the things that people enjoy in their normal lives go back to that.
As many as 20 tips a day have come in to that command center from tipsters who think they saw them.
There's cops all over the place every day. There's helicopters, but no one is really zoning in on them.
Do you feel like you're closing in?
I'll let you know when we catch him.
And new tonight, the prison guard on duty when Danilo
See, like I said, really, really dumb questions. Just see this guy. Watch this guy.
escaped has been fired.
They're not going to show it again.
Early Sunday morning, police released these new images of escaped killer Danilo Cavalcante, saying he has changed his appearance and is now clean-shaven and wearing a yellow or green hooded sweatshirt, a black baseball cap, green prison pants, and white shoes. Their search moving over 20 miles away from the Longwood Gardens area to Phoenixville. Police say Cavalcante.
They must have got some DNA off that porch, which tied that image to him.
Conte went to an old work associate's home around 9:52 p.m. talking through a Ring doorbell camera. Law enforcement learned that he had stolen this white van. They confirmed it was taken from a business in the Longwood
Yeah, it had no gas in it.
Gardens area after the owners left the keys in it.
This is a minor setback. We'll get him. It's a matter of time.
It's scary, but how is he getting all this stuff? How did he shave? How is he getting the different clothes?
Because people leave their keys in their car. That's why.
How is, stealing cars?
They still believe, in fact, that he's in Chester County, but they have to admit this. He has proven himself to be a very elusive target, and even the focus and the techniques being used in this investigation have changed.
Now I believe it's advantage law enforcement because he's in an urban setting. And that's what our investigators do best, U.S. Marshal Service investigators.
This guy's awesome right here. This guy's really good.
And we're force multiplied here by these other federal, state, and local agencies.
Let me just show you what I'm looking at. We are at a roadblock right now in an active scene at a confirmed sighting of Danilo Cavalcante within the last hour and a half. Guys, what we can tell you, the major developments right now, that over the past 15 minutes, police broadcast over scanner traffic that Danilo Cavalcante may now be armed with a .22 rifle and a scope.
I'll probably get struck again for this. Oh well.
The major developments right now, that over the past 15 minutes, police broadcast over scanner traffic that Danilo.
Apparently he broke into this house, and I think the guy was like really old, 70, 80-ish. And the guy saw him breaking into his house and shot at him like 7 times and missed him every time. And then he stole a sawed-off .22 rifle with a scope.
Danilo Cavalcante may now be armed with a .22 rifle and a scope. And that has now triggered even more response. Law enforcement now coming in from all over the area,
And a flashlight.
converging on East Nantmeal Township and establishing a perimeter. We can
That might be the dog right there, actually.
tell you drones are up. We can tell you search helicopter is up. So, guys, this is now a heightened alert, not only a confirmed sighting, but law enforcement now saying to one another that he is now considered armed and dangerous.
This is a whole new manhunt. The danger level has really escalated because of this heavy police presence. These schools are closed now. There's absolutely no way anybody can go to school when an intense manhunt comes to their back door.
There is a perimeter here now. It's even stronger than the one we saw this time last week in Lower Chester County.
A short Hispanic male, no shirt, and wearing dark pants, had entered his garage while the homeowner was in it, and that he grabbed a .22 rifle that was leaning in the corner of the garage. The homeowner drew a pistol and fired at Cavalcante.
State police say they've flooded the area with some 500 officers and are using their copter and dogs to hunt.
And I'm only about 20 feet or so from where the camera is now. It's thorny, it's thick, it's hard just to walk, a few feet at a
See, I think that was actually good news in a way for them because they knew he was in those woods, so they just created a perimeter around those woods and they waited for him to move. They knew he moved at night, so
time. And as I try to come out and make my way, it doesn't take too long to understand why they haven't caught him just yet. It's nearly impossible just to get through here. And in the dark, if you can't see me in the daylight, imagine what it's like looking for him in the darkness of night.
I know
he was basically camped out in a log pile.
that this is a moment of deep worry and anxiety.
I think everybody needs to be protected.
Kelly O'Hara is protecting herself with her purple gun, and her neighbors across Coventryville Road are also locked and loaded. That's doors locked and guns loaded.
It just goes to show you the heightened sense of alert that people are on now. If you live anywhere near
Good for them.
this area right now, you hear a noise in your house, many people are calling police and having the police come and check it out rather than them go down their basement.
At 8:23, we do have some very big breaking news after covering the story now into its 14th day.
We are hearing that police are saying they have Danilo Cavalcante in custody.
All right, at 8:23, we do have some very big breaking news after covering the story now into its 14th day.
I don't have a ton of detail, but the word has gone around like wildfire. A couple of them have left.
8:23, we do have.
Do you think they coordinated this whole pink on pink thing here?
Some very big breaking news after covering the story now into its 14th day.
I don't have a ton of detail, but the word has gone around like wildfire. A couple of them have left with smiles and waves. So the word is getting around now. We do have it confirmed in the newsroom.
I mean, I don't think that was an accident.
That Danilo Cavalcante has been caught.
I believe this is what we've been waiting for a couple of weeks now. Danilo Cavalcante in custody.
Yeah, he's 5 foot. Look, I mean, he's a good foot shorter than these guys right here.
He's in handcuffs. They wiped off his face. It is clean shaven. And from the latest images that we have of Danilo, he did shave off his beard. But you can see he's
See, apparently that's where the dog bit him, right there.
still has long hair and it's still, dangling in his face there. But he has been in handcuffs. And it looks as if he was in an area where there was a lot of firewood. It seems like in every photo that we've shown, he looks very different.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that
I don't know why I catch those things, but it just like seems a little strange that, of all the ties he had to pick that day.
was part of the reason why he was able to hide
I mean, I think it looks good, but
for so long. That, in addition to his mother, who did an interview with the New York Times that was released today, saying that, he's experienced, going without food for a long time because of his upbringing and being out in a wooded area.
there's a dog right there, I think. This dog is like, let me at him.
Or and surviving that way on his own. So it looks like they're putting him in an armored vehicle now.
Oop, no, I think it was the other
Sorry to
dog.
tell us we're so zoomed in, and we want to be because we want to see what he looks like and what's going on. But
Yeah, they're putting him in a very secure vehicle here, armored.
it looks like they're
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
making sure they got his hands behind his back there. But he was wearing an Eagles sweatshirt. Now
They
they're cutting
normally
that off.
They normally will cut off the shirts just to see if there's any weapons inside a shirt.
Fuck the Eagles.
Even though they've checked in inside and out for that. You never know, they might want to get the Eagles shirt off of him. How did this all play out in the final minutes here? It's going to be so interesting to learn the details.
On edge for the last 2 nights
I'll take one of those John Deere tractors right there.
this morning, residents got the news we were all waiting for.
The subject is in custody. Meaning, subject is in custody.
Our nightmare is finally over.
In hospital gown and handcuffs, Danilo Cavalcante was walked out of the Avondale State Police Barracks after cooperating with interrogators, telling them through a Portuguese interpreter.
This guy's literally a piece of dog shit. He unalived his girlfriend right in front of her kids. I think he killed somebody back in Brazil. I think he's actually Portuguese. I don't know if anybody's had Portuguese food, but it's really, really good. Especially the black pork.
That he intended to carjack someone in the next day.
Jennifer Lubrano and her husband say the capture of escaped killer Danilo Cavalcante will mean sleeping without a pistol at arm's length tonight. They spent 2 days with police crawling all over their 70-acre horse farm in the search zone on
Look at all
the
that
same
corn.
block where the escaped killer was last spotted.
We just have not slept. I mean, we've had every light on in the house. We've basically been locked in the house.
Just after midnight on his
I think they tell you not to do that, not to put every single light on. I don't know.
14th day on the lam, police say a burglar alarm sounds at a home near Pritzker Road inside the perimeter. A drug enforcement agency plane picks up an image on the ground.
There was an aircraft overhead utilizing FLIR technology close to 1 a.m., picked up a heat signal.
And they move in on the surprised escaped murderer.
He began to crawl through thick underbrush, taking his rifle with him as he went.
A U.S. Border Patrol team from Texas working with a state police special response unit unleashed their dog.
I think that's the dog right there. I keep saying that, but I'm pretty sure that's the dog.
The dog subdued him, and team members from both of those teams immediately moved in.
We have learned tonight that Hero
There he is right there.
K9 with the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, the one who took down Danilo Cavalcante, at least helped. His name is Yoda.
Look at how cute he is. Look at those ears. This is one dog you don't want to fuck with.
A 4-year-old Belgian Malinois.
While they did extraordinary work, they had a tremendous assist from the public.
He said he'd been hiding under thick underbrush, and on 3 occasions said armed search teams came within 7 or 8 yards of him.
When we saw him on the news this morning, it was those guys who got him. And we were just so thankful.
He said he only moved at night, never during the day. He said he hid his fecal matter, number 2s, under leaves and brush so searchers wouldn't find out where he had been. He lived off stream water and a watermelon that he had stolen. After his interrogation, an 18-vehicle caravan brought Cavalcante into the state
I didn't know they could grow watermelon in Pennsylvania. That's news to me.
Institute here in Skipback.
And while willing to use violence to win his freedom, he was not.
Yeah, that's a good-looking dog right there. That was a good, I mean.
In the end, willing to die.
He had made a statement that he knew he had to pay for what he did. However, he wasn't willing to pay with his life.
Well, that's too bad. All right, so next thing I'm going to do, and then I'm going to get out of here, is I'm going to play this here because if anybody lives in down East Maine or, you know, parts of Nova Scotia and shit, this is what we got going on tonight over here. So this is a professional at this point now doing this.
Well, good evening, everyone. Roger Griswold here with you on a Friday evening. This is going to be a full and comprehensive review of everything you need to know with regard to Hurricane Lee. So sit back and relax, and I've got all the
So this is the Bay of Fundy right here. So this is basically where this storm is going.
information that you need to know for planning. Hurricane Lee right now, we've got a tropical storm warning in effect. This includes York County, Cumberland County, interior sections now, Androscoggin County and Kennebec County added to the list. That's a chance.
This area right in here, if you like seafood, Rockland, Bangor, basically due east of Bangor, Bar Harbor, freaking awesome seafood.
Changed since last night at this time. And of course, the down east region all the way up to Presque Isle with a tropical storm warning, something you don't see that often. Interior sections of York County, Oxford County, Northern Franklin, and Somerset County under a wind advisory, meaning there will be the potential for some damaging wind, but to a lesser extent. Now, the last update we had was the 5 o'clock update. There'll be another comprehensive update coming at 11 o'clock. Wind gusts to 100 miles per hour, still sustained winds at 80 miles per hour. The movement is now north, so it's completely north at 20. That's a little bit of an accelerated pace, which plays a role in our timing arrival of winds. Pressure holding steady, 965. So here's what I mentioned, the consistency between one report from the next. So 11 o'clock this morning, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, each time the Hurricane Center issued their statements, we held this.
This won't be 80 miles per hour when it hits. It'll be maybe 60 or 70.
Same wind. And if anything, the pressure might be just rising, nudging a little bit, which is going to continue as the storm continues to weaken. Here's the view from above. A couple of things. You can see all the colorful images. That's all the moisture, the high cloud tops, the convection. Most of that moisture on the western side of the storm, with drier air beginning to work its way in on the eastern side. Now, at this point, the cone doesn't really matter a whole lot because it's so narrow. And you can see the forecast to be a tropical storm Saturday afternoon, making landfall on the western side of Nova Scotia, maybe Digby, Nova Scotia. But the thing about this storm system, and we've said this day after day, is not the intensity.
Thank you, Louise, for coming in. I appreciate it. You too. Have a great weekend. Thank you for coming in. I'm out of here too in a couple of minutes.
But the size of it, I mean, look at this. This is about 600 miles from the western edge of tropical storm force winds to the eastern edge. Just a tremendous wind field associated with it. This is all hurricane force winds, and that extends out about 100 miles. So let's take this wind field of tropical storm force winds and bring it north. 10 o'clock tonight, it's already pushing up into the Boston area, and you can see it pushes into southern Maine, the mid-coast.
The Cape here might get some of this too, especially as it wraps itself around once it gets close to land here.
Even Bangor by tomorrow morning. Whereas a couple of days ago, we were thinking midday on Saturday. Now we're going to get things well underway here first thing in the morning. In fact, by noontime, now it's encompassing Augusta, Waterville, all of down East Maine. In fact, folks there may be dealing with winds up over 60 miles per hour, a little bit closer to the core of the storm. And finally, by this time tomorrow,
60 miles an hour may not seem like a lot to most people, but around here, especially in Maine with these tall pines, that's a lot. Even in Canada, that'll knock down pretty much every single tree.
Tomorrow night, the winds will be easing as the storm system begins to move away. Another way to look at it, the probability of hurricane force winds, not a concern here, but a...
Thank you, Luis. I hope I'm saying your name right.
Greater concern, especially along the Nova Scotia Peninsula. And if you look at tropical storm force winds, where once again, we're up over 40 miles per hour, you can see that if anything with a track, which is slightly farther west now,
yeah, at some point I'll shave and get a haircut, I guess. I don't know.
Sort of nudged all these colors back into the coastline, increasing the odds, the confidence in getting these winds. As far as the timeline, well, this is a bit more accelerated. 8 o'clock tonight, south of New England, 2 a.m., you can see it pushing up in the Portsmouth area. And then through Portland, probably 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, we'll begin to ramp up over 40 miles per hour and continuing that timeline.
At least this will happen in daylight here
as you work your way down the coast. So in summary, the wind impacts from Lee, maximum gusts of 40 to 60 miles per hour. Some trees snapped or uprooted, and power outages are a possibility. Now, the other thing we need to watch is the rain, and the rain is not going to be a huge factor through York and Cumberland County. Maybe an inch of rain in some of the tropical downpours, and that's going to be the thing. It's going to be sort of squirrely in nature. It's on again, off again. Winds gusting to 50 miles per hour. Now, along the mid-coast, we're likely to see some heavier rainfall amounts. Waldoboro up to Camden, Rockland, either side of 2 inches. And once again, with 50 mile per hour wind gusts, damage is likely, is power outages a big concern, and 14 to 18.
It's basically like your typical nor'easter. The only difference here is this is much more tropical in nature as opposed to a cold, low pressure system here.
Foot seas building offshore. A little bit farther inland, Capital District, back to Lewiston, Auburn. Lighter rain, the green, heavier rain, the blue. Still, you're only looking at an inch and a half, so really not a big concern about flash flooding. And our final stop is from Farmington back up to Rangeley, back to the New Hampshire border. Less impact from the wind and rainfall amounts, about 1/2 inch. So that's not a lot of rain. In fact, some areas may struggle to reach that. And it's not nearly as much wind, although there is a wind advisory. So there may be some isolated areas of damage and scattered outages. Hurricane itself, yeah, came through that cold pool east of Bermuda, west of Bermuda, that is. Right now it's coming across the Gulf Stream. This is that ribbon of very warm water. But as it continues north, notice how it enters into the Gulf of Maine and here, much cooler water here. And this will pretty much put the brake.
Yeah, this is like 80 degrees here, water temperatures. This is like 60. So there's a big difference between this moisture and then this moisture.
On it being a tropical system and begin the process of it transforming into just a big power.
Hi, CJK. How are you? Hope you're having a good night. I'm almost out of here. I just wanted to go back over the hurricane here in case anybody lives up in Maine, Canada.
Powerful nor'easter. So along the coastal waters, we've got concerns about the upcoming tides. Our next high tide comes in after midnight or so, and there may be, staying below flood stage, but it's going to be noticeable. Remember, 12 feet. This line right here is when we approach.
This will be the tide tomorrow. Will be the bigger one.
Flood stage in Portland Harbor. Now tomorrow, noontime high tide, you're looking at about a 12-foot forecasted tide. Add to it some surge and perhaps wave action, and that's why the coastline is going to feel the brunt of this. High surf advisory. This is expired for today with 5 to 7 foot breaking waves throughout the evening hours, but I expect that to once again be up for tomorrow. Here are the high tides. I mentioned the 9.6 Saturday. It's a 9.4, but you add.
I'm actually pretty good. It's my time because I'm basically up all nights anyways. So, I hope everybody's doing well.
In the surge, and that's why we're pushing closer to 12. And Sunday, looking at about 1 o'clock in the morning, about a 9-foot tide. Fortunately, those tides are actually some of the lowest tides of the entire month. Wind impact again, maximum gusts of 40 to 60. Some trees snapped. And the bottom line here, power outages are going to be the concern. Stay safe.
All right. So that's the end of that. I'm going to try to get out of here. Yeah, you'd be surprised. I don't think there's anybody up here swimming right now. It's middle of, but you never know. There's a lot of crazy people. But I hope everybody stays safe and everybody has a great weekend. I'm going to get out of here. I've been on here already almost 2 hours. But I'm going to come back on later tonight, early this morning to do hopefully episode 3 of the Connecticut River Valley Killer. But other than that, I'm going to get out of here. And everybody who came in, Luis, CJK, HCC, Hoosier Cold Case, and Frank, thank you very much. And everybody stay safe and have a great weekend.